Joining me now is Bolvin Wealth Management Group President Gina Bolvin. Gina, great to see you. What do you think's behind this big move in commodities?
Well, I think it could be a play on AI, Maria. There's a lot of equipment manufacturing as part of copper, and why copper is up about 9% in the past month. But we like the play on the infrastructure play and the industrial play better than the commodities, and we see some opportunity in that area.
And would you Would you buy the actual commodity or the companies that are doing the mining? Because the Wall Street Journal with a story out this morning on copper, why the world has gone cuckoo for copper, is the title of the story, saying that the U.S. and China are competing to acquire the metal essential for electric vehicles and data centers. It's also at the center of the $43 billion takeover battle. We spoke with the chairman and CEO of Chevron the other day, who talked about the data centers and what the data centers increase in data centers is going to mean for a whole host of commodities, copper included.
Well, the last time I was on, Maria, we talked about AI and how this is going to be good for so many sectors of the market. And I think commodities is one of them. So that's what I think's going on. And
I see. It's a big week for inflation data as well. We've got the April the producer price index out this morning, Gina. Economists expecting prices to be up 0.3% month over month and up 2.2% year over year. The big event, of course, happens tomorrow with the consumer price index after 3 hot months of inflation on the consumer. January, February, and March. Also, we've got retail sales out tomorrow. And this morning, we heard from Home Depot. Your thoughts on the macro story with PPI out this morning and CPI tomorrow?
Well, it's a big week, and don't forget we have Jay Powell speaking today as well. And, you know, we've had 3 months back-to-back of hotter than expected inflation, and today is just 1 month reading. We're going to have to wait and see what's going to happen over the next 3 months on inflation. But I think, Maria, if inflation just comes in as expected in the PPI and CPI this week, I think the market will like that and could rally on the news. But we are starting to see some disinflationary news in terms of the job market that we see is loosening. We've had job gains slow to 175,000 last month from March's over 300,000. Wage gains are slowing. Initial claims are at 8-month highs. So we are starting to see some disinflationary data, and that should help the inflation picture, but it's going to take some more time.
And whatever we get tomorrow with the CPI, Cheryl Casoni, that certainly is going to inform the market in terms of where the Fed is, in terms of rate cuts or no rate cuts this year.
In particular, where we're seeing that disinflation that Gina's mentioning here, because I spoke with an analyst yesterday who said the same thing to me, that you are going to start to see that stick inflation unstick with the 2 reports that we're going to get over the next 2 mornings, Maria. And Gina, my question is where? I was told that to really pay attention to that shelter component on the CPI report on Wednesday, because that's where we're going to start to see the numbers start to fall. Are you of that opinion, or do you think it's going to fall somewhere else in that report?
That's exactly it, Cheryl. That's what I'm looking at. You know, we are watching housing because there's a lag in the government data. So we're seeing companies like Redfin and Realtor.com tell us that rents are coming down, but it hasn't shown up in the CPI yet. And the reason this is so important is because it's the largest component of CPI.
Yeah. And look, we've been waiting for this, right? Steve Schwarzman told me the same thing, the largest owner of commercial real estate in the world, Blackstone. And he said, Maria, I'm telling you, rents are going down. I see it, but we haven't seen it. It hasn't shown up yet. So we'll see if this is the month. We've got the consumer in the spotlight this week. We've got April retail sales out this week. You say we should be focused on the luxury goods companies and the consumers that are spending on luxury goods as well as out at restaurants. Why?
Exactly, Maria, because we're seeing a very bifurcated consumer right now. We see the low-end consumer really struggling with inflation, but yet we're seeing a different response from some of the luxury consumers. In the retail sales report this week, I would really keep an eye, however, on restaurants, because restaurants is really discretionary spending, and that's really the first to go when consumers want to tighten their belt and stop spending. And I think that'll be important for inflation.
Yeah, it's a great point. Unfortunately, whether you're eating at home or going to a restaurant, the price is up over the last few years. Gina, thank you. Good to see you. Gina Bolvin joining us this morning on markets and the economy.